right, good morning. Welcome back, riders. Sorry I wasn't here last week. Ran into just some stuff with the kids and was not able to jump on. I try to do these videos early in the morning before everybody gets up. Last week, my daughter wanted to be up at the crack of dawn, so when I'm off, that's where I like to keep my attention. So there's that. All right. I got a lot to share with you guys today. I got a lot of videos to go over, and we're going to talk a little bit about where evil and the people that are destroying our world right now, where they actually come from. Because I've been listening to a lot of really good pastors, and they talk very little about this, and I'm not even sure if what they actually believe when it comes to this. So I just wanted to give you my thoughts on it. Again, I'm not, you know, I'm not the 100% end to um, what is true or not. This whole channel, everything that I'm doing, it's to help get people to think about things a little bit differently and to wake up to the truth that is Jesus Christ. And as I study and pray and grow and my walk becomes closer, things change. And we can't be afraid to go where the evidence takes us and grow. If we refuse to look at anything that opposes our views, we will never grow. Because unless you're so, arrogant and foolish to think that you're 100% correct about everything, we need to look at opposing views and take that to prayer. And, you know, as it says in scripture, we are to test and prove all things and hold fast to what is true. And as a Christian, that's what we need to be doing. So, um, on that kind of line of thinking, I didn't know how I was going to start with the videos today. But let's jump right into some of the flat earth stuff because I know it's a very hot topic for a lot of Christians. I don't personally understand it. The Bible scripture is very clearly describing a flat, non-rotating earth, um, geocentric. I don't know. I don't know how you twist scripture to say something else. The whole idea of the spherical earth and planets, all of this comes from Kabbalah. It's plain and simple. I'll see if I could pull up the video while one of these is playing, but it's a video of a lot of mainstream scientists speaking about how, their idea of physics and, um, the study of the earth, planets, astrophysics, um, matches up to the Kabbalah. And, they're speaking about whether that's a happy accident or what. It's set up that way. The Kabbalists are the ones in charge of the science being pushed. Everything going on. Watched a video of Pastor Charles Jennings talking about um, Jonathan Cahn. And one thing he missed in that video is that the whole idea of Kabbalah is that they are in the process of initiating the whole world into their system. And they're doing that through speakers like him, Jonathan Cahn, not Pastor Charles, speakers like Jonathan Cahn, and through movies, Harry Potter, Star Wars. These are their programming, basically. And the world has to be initiated for the upcoming slaughter. So that's where this idea comes from. We also know it comes from um, Cardinal Wolsey, the learning against learning strategy, when the Catholic Church lost control of the minds of the people through the printing of the Bible in their native tongue, and people were able to read scripture for the first time and saw that the Catholic Church is a complete and utter lie, that they make stuff up. They're just not, the Catholic Church is not Christian. I'm not attacking Catholics. I'm just saying the Catholic Church from its start was not Christian. It was a way for the, personally, I believe it was set up and run by these elite satanic Jews. That's my personal thought of it. I think it's always been controlled that way. The whole Trinity aspect that they push, the Mother Mary worship, this is all from Kabbalah. You know, this is the religion of Babylon. This is the religion of Satan. But yeah, there was the learning against learning strategy. They couldn't control the minds with scripture anymore. So what they were going to do was try to capture the minds of the people with science while disproving scripture. So let's watch some of these videos on fisheye lens. Okay, the fisheye lens, it was first set up for the picture. There's a picture going around of, you know, physics students, amateur physics students capture Earth's curve with their balloon. Okay, well, if you watch the video, I don't think I have it. If you watch it from start to finish, you could see the curve in those videos from 100, 200 feet. It's the same curve that you see when it gets up to its peak height. It's the effect of the fisheye lens. And I'm going to show you some videos to prove that. Okay, let's start with this one.
And I just want to remind everybody that fisheye lens is not real. This is real. Look at this. Peace out.
See, in the fisheye lens video, you can already see the curve. This is magic. This is sorcery. And the reason, what I want you to start thinking about is that you have to understand that everything we are seeing has a purpose. If a video goes viral, it's allowed to go viral for a purpose. These people that we see, the big time podcasters, big time YouTubers, they are put out there for a purpose. If you're actually speaking truth and you're not controlled, you're not going to be big. They have the technology, they have the means, they control all these media outlets to stop that. So people that think they're going to Candace or Tucker or whoever else to get actual news, you are not. They are gatekeepers. They will give you facts. That's how they reel you in. But they will steer you in the direction that they've been assigned. You got to start trusting yourself and start trusting our Creator over the actors that you see on television. See, look at that curve in that fisheye video. Notice the difference. But this is the thing, for a majority of the population, that's all that has to be shown. You know, they put it on Facebook. Oh, amateur physicists capture curve. And that amateur part is for the people that are starting to wake up. They're starting to think maybe the government is lying to them. Oh, it's an amateur. It's not government. This must be real. And look, they captured the curve. You know, remember when all the flat earth started, it was, you know, you'd have people screaming about being able to see the curve in the airplane. It's not possible. It doesn't help that you have curved windows. But because really all people do now, they don't think of anything for themselves. They just parrot what they've heard other people say. That is what passes for thinking. So, and that's what you're running into with AI. Everybody runs over, oh, let me look this up. And then they read the AI overview. AI is a program. That's it. It is a program. And I've spoken before that if you speak to it about something that you're very knowledgeable about, you can trip it up. Because it's a program that feeds you the correct narrative that the elites want. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not alive. It's not your boyfriend. It's not your girlfriend. It's not your friend. It's not an all-knowing entity. If it is anything, it's a means for demonic forces to interact with you. And personally, I know that these things will use technology. So, just a heads up, if you're ever in a crisis, like mentally, don't get on your phone. Leave it alone. All right, let's watch the longer version of the fisheye.
So how high did the balloon go? Well, it went a whopping 14 miles high. And the curvature happens to look just like it does for the 250-mile high ISS.
Houston, we have a problem.
If you were being lied to, if you were being deceived, would you want to know it? I'm assuming that almost everyone would say 100% absolutely yes. You would want to know. And I also assume that if it was obvious, you'd definitely want to know, and even more so if many of us already knew. Now imagine the entire human race, besides just a few parasitic clowns, are being deceived, and then imagine that those of us who are saying that the Earth may be flat can see the deception, the lies, the nonsense, and so all we're trying to do is to show you. Because here's the deal. This week, the physics students from the University of Leicester sent a balloon so high up they saw the Earth's curvature. Just by taking a look here at the Google results, we see the university students film the curvature of the Earth. The second one says students film breathtaking curvature of Earth using a high altitude balloon. And then the third one says students film stunning images of the Earth's curvature using a weathered balloon. So no matter what site you went to, you see the emphasis on the new images of the curvature of the Earth. Here's one more source, and again we see the same thing. Students film stunning images of the Earth's curvature using weathered balloons. Very important to film this curvature. Next we've got just an image from the launch, the little balloon launch that we're going to be talking about. Let's see that there. Does that sun look 93 million miles away? If you said yes, get out. Get out right now. And so here we are just looking at an image from the balloon launch, and as I slowly start to blend it in with the ISS rotating ball Earth, you'll see that they were virtually identical. Yet the ISS, we're told, is 15 times higher than that balloon. How high, you ask? Huh, I'm pretty high. I mean, I smoked a... Huh?
I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it, and didn't inhale.
So how high did the balloon go? Well, it went a whopping 14 miles. Wow. 14 miles high. And the curvature happens to look just like it does for the 250 mile high ISS. That's around 15 times as high as this image that we see here clearly shows there's an issue. And so as this balloon heads up into the sky, courtesy of those physics students at Leicester University, let's watch how here at 500 feet we have curvature to the Earth. And so you're telling me that these physics students can't see that right here at 1,000 feet, for some strange reason, we again have massive curvature to the Earth? I mean, so in the physics world today, do they not understand that convex lenses or fisheye lenses or GoPro add a distorted view, causing things to look spherical that aren't? I mean, are physics students so dumbed down? Are the media outlets so confused and blind? And are NASA fanboys so enthralled with their form of erotica that they can't see the fakery of the augmented curvature? I mean, they just keep making excuses for the love of their life and the object of their affection. So yeah, Play Fanboy Magazine, working right along with NASA, the king of size issues. You know, they love to throw their size facts around. For example, would you believe that this building, the Vehicle Assembly Building at Kennedy Space Center, is 525 feet tall? Maybe. That's almost 2 Statues of Liberty. Now let me ask you this. See that flag up on the wall there? Would you believe if I told you that NASA says that that flag is the size of a regulation NBA basketball court? Would you believe that? Well, you might. It looks pretty close. What if I told you they actually say the blue square equals an NBA basketball court? I'm calling bullshit. Alright, so let's talk this out. Clearly this footage is a GoPro camera image. Clearly it's distorted, and yet every news agency says the same exact thing. Students catch view of the Earth's curve. And that sun, does that look 93 million miles away to you? If it does, get out. Leave now. So we've got the curvature of the Earth being the same at 500 feet, or 1,000 feet, or 14 miles, or 250 miles. Nothing to see here. Move along, move along. Just some liars on television, and then we got the entire scientific community who just sits there, watches this, and can't question why the so-called curvature can be seen at 500 feet and 1,000 feet. And again, at 14 miles and 250 miles. Pretty sad, and I do feel for you if you can't see it. What you need to realize is they taught you to fight against anything that goes against the mainstream that they need you to believe in. They need you to believe in the ball, so anything that says anything different is dumb, is moronic. But if you can't see that, well, that's on you. If you just accept the globe model with no understanding of the flat and no clear evidence for the ball Earth, do you see the problem there? We're told the globe is scientific. We're told that scientific means tested and repeated and researched and documented and tested again. And yet when you really look into it, you find no evidence for the globe. Can't find the curvature. Can't figure out how water bends. Can't figure out how it sticks to a spinning ball, or how we fly 2.2 million miles per hour through space and don't feel it. Alright, so now I'm in my video editor just to show you something. You can see on your screen exactly where I'm at. I'm going to the part where we're near the ground, and we're stopping it when we've got a significant curve there. And we're going to use the lens correction tool. and see if we can get rid of the fisheye lens. Okay, and you'll see I'm heading up here and changing this lens little radio button here, this little slider, and we'll try it there and see how that works. Looks pretty good on that picture, but there we see the pretty pronounced curve again, although it looks okay there. So I think we're close, almost ready for you. Just going to keep moving it a little bit more until it looks right. And I'd say that maybe a little bit more. Yeah, I'd say that's about good. So I'm going to then load it up without the fisheye lens and see what reality holds. Just because we're taught the ball Earth and taught about the 23.5 degree tilt and the motion around the axis and the orbit of the Earth with its 584 million mile yearly journey around a sun 1 million times the size of the Earth does not make it true. Just because you think satellites are in the sky sending your DirecTV signal to your dish doesn't make it true. In fact, head over to Wikipedia, type in communications satellite, go all the way down to where it says geostationary orbits, and look at the last line there where it says, in applications that require a large number of ground antennas, such as DirecTV distribution, the savings in ground equipment can more than outweigh the cost and complexity of placing a satellite into orbit. Womp 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 womp. Can I get some sound effects? Thank you. Alright, so we're now going to watch the non-fisheye view, since it's been redone and had the lens corrected. So you can enjoy that, and while we're doing that, I'm going to read you a few quotes. Trouble arises when either science or religion claims universal jurisdiction. When either religious dogma or scientific dogma claims to be infallible, religious creationists and scientific materialists are equally dogmatic and insensitive. By their arrogance, they bring both science and religion into disrepute. Freeman Dyson. There must be no barriers for freedom of inquiry. There is no place for dogma in science. The scientist is free and must be free to ask any question, to doubt any assertion, to seek for any evidence, to correct any errors. J. Robert Oppenheimer. And by that he means any question, even if it's the shape of the Earth, even if it's the distance to the sun. So even though science backers think it's real funny to call other people names and call people morons and how stupid are they and they should go back to school, and that's not.
And that's all they have is name calling. They never give some opposing, scientific argument or an explanation. It's just name calling. Like even under that, the post about the curved earth by the physics students, that's all that was underneath there. Was they just say fish-eyed lens. That's all they got. That's all we need because it's the truth. It's how stupid people are today it's mind-numbing.
What they're talking about. Every question should be able to be asked because any fact should be able to be backed up with evidence. And unfortunately, one of the fundamental beliefs of this world is that we live on a ball, and the part that sucks is it comes with no evidence. And the last quote, although all men are born free, slavery has been the general lot of the human race. Ignorant, they have been cheated. Asleep, they have been surprised. Divided, the yoke is forced upon them. But what is the lesson? The people ought to be enlightened, to be awakened, to be united, that after establishing a government they should watch over it. It is universally admitted that a well-instructed people alone can be permanently free. James Madison. So hopefully you enjoyed the non-fish-eyed view of the Earth. Certainly not a ball, certainly no curvature, and certainly don't need lies and distorted views to prove it. So we just saw what some students can produce by sending up a weather balloon with a camera on it, probably a GoPro Hero 4 or Hero 5.
And with those fisheye lenses, you could see the, depending on how the camera is being tilted, it will actually curve up. It will curve the opposite way.
And what you see in front of you now is what we get from our beloved space agency, NASA. You see they're showing the great storm of Cinnabon rolling here on the left. This is disgusting. How do we allow these guys to continue providing absolutely nothing to the human?
And then they just put out those cartoons of Jupiter, and they're talking, they talk about the cyclones. They're like, that's as big as Earth. It's clearly a cartoon, but people just look at it and scroll by and go, oh, wow, that's amazing. Where they don't ask the question, if we have all these interviews with astronauts, in the space station or this recent trip to the moon, blah, blah, blah. We have all these amazing cameras. Why don't they just grab one and hold it out the window? Never happens. Funny, huh?
Human race. They get 50 million thousand. So if we got NASA and they've got a budget, I guess, jeez, it's just gouging
And
their
then
already
here
tiny
I got
budget.
this short
Which is
one
only one half of the percent of the yearly U.S. budget. You know that, right?
Neil
Images when they
talking
showed
about this all the time.
Felix Baumgartner, where he's prepared to jump. You see this curved Earth. That's a fisheye lens, dude. Okay? Fisheye lenses take horizontal lines and bend them convex when you're above the midplane of the photo.
In order to gather in more of the image.
Correct, because that's the only way you can distort it to fit it onto a flat plane. Because it's looking at a full sort of 360, 180, all right, and it's trying to get it in. But what happens if you take that horizontal line, the horizon, and put it below the midplane of the camera? It then bends the other way. Bends the other way.
Well, there you go. And he has stated that even in the Red Bull jump, he wouldn't have been high enough to see the curve. See, their explanations and science change based on the arguments being given from flat earthers. Like the speed that the Earth is traveling around the sun, I believe, used to be 66,600 and whatever miles an hour. So you got the 666 there. Now they adjust it, and they'll say it's 67. And I believe they've even done that with the tilt of the Earth, where it used to be, was it tilted 23 degrees? Or no, 24 degrees. And so it would leave you 66. How'd that go? Yeah, 23.4 degrees, and it would leave you 66.6. But now they've adjusted it to, I think, 23.5 or 23.2. Yeah, they just make stuff up. And they can, because our people are stupid. It's not that we're stupid. It's just we're just asleep right now. We've got our faces glued to our phones. We don't investigate anything. Our investigation is literally 10 seconds. We'll look at something, listen to what somebody else says about it, and that's how we think. And the people that control things know this. It's amazing that so many people think what's going on is from incompetence. What they're doing is exactly what they've planned on doing. It's not incompetence, it's evil. And that's something else I've listened to some of our other pastors talk about. And they make excuses for these people, like Mike Huckabee, some of the other politicians. They do it with Trump still, but they'll say things like, "Oh, they're just so lost in their Christian Zionism." It's not Christian Zionism. It's just that they're a part of this evil system. They know exactly what they're doing. We got to hold their feet to the fire. All right. I'll jump to, actually, let me show you this about some of the controllers. This is Mr. Beast.
Mr. Joey, here is your world record slice of pizza.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, and this is the stuff they put on there. It's passive reinforcement. They drop little tidbits all through their video. It's how, it's like having the globe in your classroom, or the globe at the beginning of a Universal picture, or just seeing it on film, or in a casual, joke in a movie talking about flat earthers. This is passive reinforcement. They don't draw too much attention to it, but subconsciously that goes into your head, and it reinforces what you've already been programmed with.
I'm really hungry right now. This looks good.
This is 9 pounds. It's like you're eating Chris's baby. It's like you're eating Chris's baby.
Yeah.
And the look he gives right there. He knew what he just said. He knows that pizza is a code word that these pedophiles use. That's been well established through FBI documents and through the Pizzagate, the emails listed, and even Epstein files.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
It's like slicing into a baby.
Huh?
Poor choice of words. I'm just saying it's really soft.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump into some of these virus videos I wanted to share with you.
Santa virus. Then you got the swine flu virus. Then you got the COVID virus. Remember, viruses are fake. Okay, number one, viruses are fake. Let me read you this. Suddenly, out of Atlanta came the CDC control plan for the national vaccination campaign against the swine flu in 1976.
In the Murder by Injection book he's reading from by Eustace Mullins, everybody should try to get a copy of that. I believe there's a PDF you can get off of archive.com.
You remember that? The fact that there was not a single known case of this flu in the United States did not stop the medical monopoly from their scheme.
And with that PDF, what I do a lot with these is there's an app called Peach. You download the PDF, you could send it over to Peach, and now you got yourself an audiobook that you can listen to at work or working out or doing whatever you're doing.
76. So when the swine breeders began to inject their pigs and all of their animals began to perish. Well, if swine breeders won't inject the toxins into their animals, our only market is to inject it into the people. This is the government, right? This is the government right here. So the whole CDC and the vaccinations, everything else. Dr. Morris.
The same government that gave whole population syphilis and studied the effects, that sprayed our cities with bacteria, resulting in deaths, bombed a coal mining strike in West Virginia, I believe, to get them to go back to work. The American government.
Then went public with his statement, at no point was there a swine flu vaccine which was effective. He was fired. He was fired. So anybody who goes against the vaccine narrative, removed. Okay? So this is 1976. So then, because the pigs are passing and they got to get it into the people, President Ford appears on a news program to urge the American people to submit to the vaccination for the swine flu vaccine. 1976. So it didn't work with the pigs because it was killing the pigs. Then the doctors started saying, don't do that. So then they had to get the president involved, right? Insurance agencies went public with their warning that they would not issue the drug firm any type of insurance because it can cause a lot of damages when they go to get it. Sounds a lot like 2020. It was a foil that the insurance companies, that Gerald Ford made his appeal to the 215 million Americans and told them to get the booster, get the injections, get your vaccines. We'll give you donuts. We'll give you Krispy Kreme. Murder by injection. Within a few months, the claims totaling $1.3 billion filed by the victims of who suffered all of the damages and paralysis from the swine flu vaccine. Right then. Medical monopoly decided to change the name to GBS instead. And then 1986, Reagan signed a bill to protect all vaccines from lawsuits. Does that sum up vaccines in a nutshell? I think that does. That's what it sums up. You don't need to put any of this stuff into your body. And I think that's the most perfect example, because you see that they used a president, they used the animals, they used the doctors, they used the TV, they used the whole system, and they just keep repeating it to you until you do it. That's pretty much what it comes down to. They keep telling you the same thing, this antivirus and this and this and this, because they just want to vaccinate you. That's it. They just want to stick vaccines in you, and they want to poison you to keep their system going. That's it. That's all it comes down to. Any person who tells you to put any of this garbage into your body, you should go beat them up or put them in a cage and beat them up. You know, something like that, like UFC, something like that.
Agreed. And we don't give excuses to the doctors. They have the degrees. They have the know-how to research these things before they start injecting people with them. So I have no sympathy for doctors. When this whole thing collapses, they're going to be held responsible. Same with nurses. So if you're one of these people, keep that in mind. You might want to pray and ask to have your soul returned. Because I believe these people are soulless that do this, especially that can walk in and inject little babies.
If you are unvaccinated and the virus comes into your community, the virus will hunt you out. The virus hunts down the unvaccinated.
The virus will find the unvaccinated. That's what they all say.
And it's a virus that will find you if you're not vaccinated.
If you're unvaccinated, it will find you.
The virus is literally finding unvaccinated people.
It will find the unvaccinated.
We're seeing COVID-19 tracking down unvaccinated people.
You know, if you're unvaccinated and you're in circulation, you're going to get it.
Well, the Delta variant of COVID-19 has the potential to spread through an unvaccinated community like wildfire.
The Delta variant is so aggressive that if you are unvaccinated, it's going to find you.
Delta is finding the unvaccinated.
The Delta variant will find you. If you're not vaccinated, it will find you.
The virus tends to find places that are under-vaccinated.
It does not just move to city centres. It finds the unvaccinated wherever they are.
In a just world, all these people would be singing from trees or swinging from trees. It's that simple. You know, our population used to have strong morals and a backbone. You can look up what happened to Leo Frank, where he thought he was going to get out of murdering poor little, I think her name was Mary Fagan. And then when you go and you start doing your research and you start asking questions, this is what happens. And I'll give you my personal story after this.
And I can give you the phone number. That's the only thing that I can give you.
I don't understand. You're telling me that it's safe to give my 10-year-old this vaccine, but you won't let me look at the ingredients in it?
Yeah, that's the only thing that I can tell you. Did they give you the website earlier?
No. What website? For the CDC? Yeah, I know how to navigate the CDC, but
Did they give
I'm
you the-
here and y'all are telling me, oh, it's safe to give your daughter this. So I want to read it. I want to see what's in it.
I could give you the number and then you can call them.
Okay, sounds crazy. Y'all don't keep those? Y'all just throw them
Doctors
away?
are communist dictators. That's how they view things. You disagree with them, they want you gone.
Why would we not be able to make a copy of that?
I can't give you a copy of that.
But why?
Because I can't.
I mean, it's for what reason? Though? It's not against HIPAA. It's not.
Well, because I guess you've been discharged from the practice already.
Right, because I refused a vaccine.
Yes, and I can't give you anything anymore. Once you're discharged from the practice, I can't give you any more information. So the only thing I can tell you is you can call that 1-800 number, and they.
Yeah, but if I give her this shot, then they would see her as a patient again. So I want to read about the vaccine that y'all are telling me is safe to give her because she's been a patient here for 10 years.
If you go on that and on the website, you can look it up under the CDC, and they'll give you everything that's on there. Okay. Everything that we have on the books, it'll give you that on there too.
Okay.
Did you get the website?
So let's say I was still a patient here and my daughter hadn't been kicked out and I asked for the vaccine insert, you still wouldn't give it to me?
They'll give you the information that we have here.
But y'all print that. I don't want that. I want what comes in the box.
Yes, I can't give you that.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a little strange. You think I could get it at the health department?
Probably.
Okay. Maybe I'll try down there.
Yeah, but you can. But like that's why I'm giving you. That's why I'm giving you this website. The website you go on it, and you'll go directly onto it.
Okay.
That's a V. Yeah. So that's the phone number and that's the website.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And it's my knowledge, I believe they have to give you the insert. I thought they were supposed to give you the insert, to be honest with you, but I could be mistaken. Personally, when we decided not to vaccinate our daughter, we asked what was in the ingredients. Our doctor couldn't tell us. So if you can't tell us what's in the ingredients of the vaccine, how can you say it's safe? And you realize that doctors receive no training on vaccinations other than the schedule. That's it. That's how these things work. That's what school is all about. That's why universities are pointless. Because they don't teach you critical thinking, how to navigate problems. They teach you the information that they want you to know. And you are to memorize it and repeat it and don't ask questions. That is our medical system. They poison you with vaccines. Then they treat the poisoning while acting like it didn't come from the poisoning. They want you sick. They want you into their system. They want to suck as much money out of you as possible, and then you're allowed to die. It's evil. Sorcery in the Bible, when you see it in there, is from pharmakia. Just another one of those coincidences. Our Lord and our Creator tried to warn us. He put everything in this beautiful book that we call the Scriptures. All you have to do is read it. The same with the vaccine information and flat earth and, who's controlling things. The information is out there. People just don't use their brain anymore. We've never had this level of information at our fingertips And we're the least informed people in the history of the world. Get off Netflix. Get off Prime. Get off TikTok. Get off these things. They're creating just retarded zombies. And for my conspiracy friends, just because there's a conspiracy video doesn't make it true. Stop wasting your time. Like, even with Flat Earth, I try to give people information to look at the world system differently, just to open up your eyes, because some people need proof. And our Father knows that. And I believe that's why he's, why this information is even coming out. It's to push back against Satan's deceptions. He is the God of this world. But we aren't left here by ourselves. Our Father is trying to reach us. And guess what? We don't have to understand everything with Flat Earth or these different sciences. I just try to give people enough to where it opens up your eyes. You realize that NASA is a fraud and it's been lying to you. It's been trying to separate you from our Creator, turning you into a speck of nothingness, floating in an infinite void on a rock. Don't allow them to do that. But also don't obsess over it. The only thing we should be obsessing over is Scripture. Everything we need to be successful and live happy, productive lives is in that book. But we don't listen. Our Father even told us that his people are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge. And it's not because the knowledge isn't available, it's because we don't care. And this is why we need to get away from media, because this is what they're doing with our children. Nice noses in these, huh? There's so much you can go into with these Disney and animated movies. Again, this world would be so different if World War II would have ended a different way. We definitely wouldn't have the filth that is in the world today. Because this is peak Jewish influence, and this is what you get. We need to understand that the media, music, books, they're no longer, first of all, the television media, that was never meant to entertain. They saw the effectiveness of programming through it. This is why it was mandatory to have a TV in your house in Britain because they saw the success they could have with it. And now people just sit in front of it all day long, just in that hypnotic state, taking in all the garbage they want to push on you. It fits right into the Caligari plan, where they specifically talk about making blacks more prominent in society through sports and media and pushing the interracial black-white marriage. That's why you see it everywhere, as a way to attack and destroy our white race. That's why there's so many black-white celebrity couples. They push it because the younger generation see it and they want to emulate it. And here's one the guy talks about not judging a book by its cover.
Do you guys remember this person right here? I remember watching this video. I don't know if it was on YouTube. I can't remember where I saw it, but I remember just focusing in on his hat, that he was homeless, and it was just laughing because he sounded so crazy. And then I saw it come through my feed just a minute ago, and I wanted to play it for you. It turns out he wasn't the crazy one after all.
You think you understand political parties? You're all full of crap. You don't know what the Illuminati is. If you're Republican or you're Democrat, you're wrong! Why? It's this easy. It's called divide and conquer. That's why there's two parties and only two. And they're controlled by the same people at the very top who belong to the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberger Group. They also belong to the Trilateral Commission, and you people don't even know what the hell that is. But if you did know, you would know that these are the people that control your world by making global policies that you never vote on, and by which parties both serve and belong to these organizations and control your world. Now, here's how it works. Really easy. Divide and conquer can only work if the people that are divided are not aware of the falsely created division. If you're not aware of it, then it works. If you know about it, then it don't work no more. If you have socialism without capitalism, it becomes communism. If you have capitalism without socialism, it becomes fascism. And it's just that easy. I love you. That's all you need to know. That's why Masonic symbols are all over your freaking money. But you don't pay any attention. Ridiculous.
It is. People don't pay any attention. That's how this stuff works. And the elites know that most people are only concerned with, the lust of the flesh. That's why porn is so huge. And that's why we have all these streaming services and social media. And social media is programming people to want acceptance. They want those likes. They want the attention. This is what happens with so many women that don't have positive male role models in their life. Same with men too. But with women, they think any attention is good attention. So they dress like hoes. They put themselves on OnlyFans because they're getting attention. It must be good. They have no idea what they're doing to themselves spiritually and physically. That you're erasing any future that you have because no self-respecting good man would want anything like that. And all of it's going to be saved. It's sad. But again, everybody's so focused on instant gratification, the attention and praise, the programming thinking that having sex on camera is somehow empowering as a woman. even though it's the least empowering thing you could do as a woman. Need to wake up.
Israel is a Jewish country and has the right to be Jewish. Why don't we have the right to keep a white country white and Christian? Well, how long do you people think you'd last if you went over there to Israel and campaigned in the Jewish schools in Israel against singing Jewish songs? And yet they're over here campaigning against us singing Christmas carols in ours. They won't tolerate it, but we must. There's no argument about it. It is a fact. What are you going to do about it? Conservatives, they are the most cowardly bunch of finks that I have ever had to deal with, because they keep saying how they love Jews and they hate communism. It's like saying you love to go swimming, but you hate to get wet. They tell you about these poor Jews in Germany and all the terrible things that happen. They don't tell you what the Jews did to Germany and what they're doing to our country here.
And what they did to the Russians in the Holodomor, or the Armenians, or the number of other genocides. And they'll talk about colonizers and stolen land, but then they're, suspiciously quiet when you bring up Europe and what's going on over there. Again, their narrative, their programming, it's only bad when whites do it. It's an attack on our race. They've written thousands of books and papers and spoken about this tremendously, about how their goal is to destroy the white race. And if you push back on that, you're racist. This is what we're pushing back on. They love to talk about whites committing most of the crime. Well, we're a majority in this country. Of course, we're going to commit more crimes. But per capita, blacks are by far the worst. We would have one of the safest countries in the world if we removed all black crime. It's that simple. It's not hateful to say that. Don't feel bad about it. Because the ones that do try to bring this up, it's because we want a future for our children. We want them to live in a nice place, to be safe, to have a future. Not to be foreigners and strangers in their own country that their ancestors built for them, not for any other race. America was built for Europeans. And that's how our system worked, our high trust system, that these people come over and they take advantage of that. They are taught how to manipulate and lie and cheat people out of their hard-earned money. All while the media and the educational system tells those people getting cheated that they should feel guilty and they deserve it. Well, screw that. And people need to wake up. And it drives me crazy, especially in the rural areas of this country, because people walk around and they act like it isn't a problem because they don't have to deal with it. Screw our brothers and sisters that have to live around these people daily. And, the countless that have been murdered by illegal and legal immigrants. It's all destroying our country. We used to be one of the biggest manufacturing countries in the world. But through greed, globalism, the immigration, when they bring these lower races over into our country, it drives the wages down for us. Because guess what? That third worlder is going to come over to our country and they're going to be willing to work for less. They're going to be willing to put up with more because anything they're dealing with here is infinitely better than where they came from. So that destroys the white wage. That takes white jobs. And through globalism and the use of slave labor overseas, they've destroyed all the manufacturing here. And now we don't produce anything. We rely on other countries to produce the goods for us. Just like, the steel industry in this country. Why there weren't laws that made it mandatory that anything being built in this country had to be built with U.S. steel. These are simple policies that if a country was being controlled by the majority race in that country, they would do policies that benefited them. That's how you know the Jews are the ones controlling everything. Because everything our country does is an attack on whites. You give more and more welfare, knowing dang well that the whites are going to be the ones that have to pay that out. Our social programs are for our people when they're struggling. Not a permanent way to support yourself. And then when these people get hired into those jobs, they approve more and more fraud. Because guess what? It's damaging whites. You need to tribe up and you need to support your own. And if you're a business owner out there and you hire illegals or you hire immigrants over whites, you are a traitor to this country. You are a white traitor. How are blacks doing in America? High crime, poverty, and low achievement. How are blacks doing in Europe? High crime, poverty, low achievement. How are blacks doing in South America? High crime, poverty, low achievement. How are blacks doing in Africa? High crime, poverty, low achievement. At what point do we start to recognize a common theme here? For years, that's what was beaten into our head, that it was the white man that kept the black down. It's how we treated them is why they were doing so poorly. It's genetics, people. Black people have no need for prefrontal cortexes. It's only white people that need them. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for impulse control, moral reasoning, emotional regulation, control of social behavior, empathy, response flexibility, attuned communication, judgment, moderating intense emotions, inhibiting inappropriate behavior. I must be missing my prefrontal cortex. Foreseeing consequence of actions, delayed gratification, acts as the adult of the brain, plus higher order functions, ability for original thought in science, engineering, mathematics, medicine, technology, and architecture. This is why they don't build. All right. Okay, here we go.
12 tribes, 7 major ones. Shaka the Zulu is from the Zululand, and then the Kosas, and then the Vendas and Limpopos, okay? Makes one huge region, 51 million black people. 6-pack and big chest. They'll kill you with their bare hands. 2.8 million white people arrived and built that country to the standard of a European country. 2.8 million. South African white. Then the people started bickering. They said apartheid was the reason the black man was poor in South Africa.
Communism got involved.
So the majority, 51 million black people, were waiting on 2.8, saying that apartheid. You don't know what apartheid is? Yes. Apartheid was no economic thing. Apartheid simply is what is happening or happened in America, like in Westport. Look, don't have children with our girls. We want to keep a pure race. Apartheid is what is happening in India, we want to keep Indians marrying themselves. Koreans are eugenics. They marry each other. How many Koreans have you seen in America married to celebrities? No. That is apartheid. So if you start marrying them, they'll tell them, clean out. That was it. Now, if blacks believe that they can build South Africa, you know what? Mandela wouldn't waste his time in prison and all these things. He would have simply said, you know what? Let's have a BSA, Black South Africa Republic. Let them cut off white South Africa and let's compete. No, they wasted their time asking the whites, just allow me to come to your beach, to your clinic, to your schools. Okay, 32 years ago, the white man said, just wait and see. We are warning them that managing a country is not something anybody you can just do. So 32 years ago, they gave the country back to the blacks. I was there in 2022 to speak. They are now having load shed. Electricity can't stay on. Water is not flowing. Roads are cracked. Airport is breaking down. The Durban train station is finished. When they gave it to blacks.
So you're saying that they're not capable?
No, they're not capable. I don't have to say it. 32 years. It took Singapore, Hong Kong, South Korea, Malaysia, and Indonesia to build themselves up right after independence. 14 countries in the Balkans. Many people in this country who are below the age of 40 don't understand what Soviet Union means. That was a devil's empire that colonized 14 countries in their grip for 40 years. Name one Eastern European country that is downtrodden because of the Russians.
So do you have the answer to the reason they're not capable?
There's no reason.
So they're just not capable because they're just not capable? There's no reason behind it. There's nothing behind it. There's not a particular mindset.
I'll tell you, because if you look in the generation of where I come from, my grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-great-grandfather, none from Africa has ever build and manage a country.
There got to be a reason.
No. I'm saying we have never done it. Just
Right.
like
done
no lion has ever dug a foxhole. Right. Only fox can dig a foxhole.
Right.
Only rabbits can dig a rabbit hole. So lions can't. So why would you say, is there a reason a lion can dig a foxhole? No, there's no reason. It's a lion.
That's it. They're not capable. You can look at the IQ charts. You know, the average IQ of Africa is like 60. IQ, mentally retarded, retardation is classified, I believe it's either 70 or 75. I think it's 70 because it used to be 80 and we lowered it by 10 points to accommodate these people in our country because majority of them would be classified as special needs. Now, does that help that community to put them amongst our children and have them compete? No. It makes them feel inferior. Then they stop trying. It would be beneficial. It would be better for them to be amongst and compete amongst themselves. It would be beneficial for our children to get the education that they can handle. Instead of getting professors and academics writing papers on how math and, you know, the study of the English language is racist. It dumbs down us, and that was the point of it. The kids today are significantly less intelligent than generations prior. And it's because of these people. Because instead of actually learning, they have to deal with all the petty drama. Remember that chart I showed you, the low impulse control, violent behavior, that goes into the schools. And this is why our father wanted us to remain separate. He wanted us to be an example to the others on how to act righteously and how to live. He didn't want us to be around them because we take on their attributes. This is the mixed multitude that let out. Then as they're waiting at the bottom of the mountain, they start, creating the golden calf. Start doing disgusting things. So where God comes down and wants to destroy everyone because of that. Thank you, Moses, for stepping in there. And again, Moses was not a Jew. Even if the Jews were Israelites, he wouldn't have been a Jew. Moses was a Levite. He wasn't even a Jew. Abraham was not a Jew. Isaac was not a Jew. Jacob was not a Jew. Adam was not a Jew. This is our white history that's being stripped from us. And if our people, if it included money, you guys would care. This is infinitely more important than money. This is our history, our present, and our future. All right, let's check this one out. I think this is Jim Brewer.
Government's a word made up to control your mind. Politicians are just actors. They're just placed to put a facade. Hey, I'm here to help you. Have they ever helped us? They bring us to war. They constantly point fingers. They constantly criticize. They constantly put down other people. They constantly put in laws. How can you put in law if you're a criminal? How many criminals get away with things because of the word government and government officials? You know what? You guys all over-welcomed your stay. And you have proven that your leadership has not led to love and peace and inspiration. They've over-welcomed their stay, and they've brought nothing but chaos, enslavement, taking your money, sending your child to go fight for something we don't even know. It's just what they told us. I think their time is up. And I think everyone around the world feels it. They're all in the club.
Who was the last president that didn't kiss the wall? Who was the last U.S. president to question Israel about anything? Who was the president that wanted to keep the value of the U.S. dollar?
Did AIPAC comp your flight ticket to Tel Aviv Pride, or do you just support genocide for the love of God?
Why did you choose genocide? Why won't you defend your district?
The next page, anyone making less than 15,000 sees that. Check this out. I thought this was a mistake. I thought I was not reading this correctly. An increase in their taxes of 74.3%. And for 15,000 to 30,000 of 20.6%. Is that correct? You guys make a mistake?
No mistake in the numbers.
People at the lower income brackets are getting screwed over by a Republican majority that doesn't give a damn about them. I'm somebody that was supposed to not go to college. I ended up working at Subway and Target. I had zero health care. You would tell somebody in my place, the billionaires deserve the most help. You all want to increase.
See, this is the system. They each take turns being the good guy and the bad guy. The ones in power continually does things to destroy our country, while the ones out of power point that out and say that they're going to stop it. And then when they get in power, it just flip-flops. And it keeps you in this never-ending fight. But it keeps your attention on that you're always looking for the future, for hope. While the walls just slowly close in on us, because once they get the AI grid and their little robots running around, it's all over.
These taxes on people making under $30,000 a year, that's the most insulting thing I've ever heard in my life.
320 new laws criminalizing homelessness in 12 months. It is illegal to be poor in America. 40 to 60% of homeless people have a job. They work. They just can't afford a roof. They raise the rent until you can't afford it. Then you move into your vehicle. Then they make that illegal too. They impound the vehicle. Now you have nothing. Utah is currently building the first detention facility for those people. They're calling it a services campus. The plans include forced labor. This is what your tax dollars are funding, the prison, for being poor.
It's out because it's real. This shit is real, what they say. Watch this. Get these ingredients, bro. Unbleached wheat, flour, water, salt, right? No poison here. Watch this. Even this, right? Check this out. Look at these ingredients. Sulfite-free coconut, inverse sugar, tapioca.
And this should not be a surprise. Like, people should be looking at the ingredients of what they're feeding their families. It's all poison. But not for these people. That's just the goy slop that we're sold. That's the commercials we see. And they put the worst stuff further down the shelf so that your kids see it. And then we have people who go, I'm fine, I ate it. That's what they're counting on. Because guess what? The people that own those companies now aren't the same people. They acquired these companies. They allowed the brand to get built up so people would trust it. Then they acquire them, and then that's when the real poisoning starts.
Vodka, starch, egg whites. Super clean foods, bro. But only for them.
Coca-Cola just signed a 5-year, $1.1 billion deal with Microsoft. 5 years ago, it was discovered that there were fluorescent nanoparticles in Coca-Cola. Now, if I were a conspiracy theorist, I might think there were more to this partnership.
Now, according to reports, Microsoft and the Coca-Cola Company have announced a 5-year strategic partnership to align Coca-Cola's core technology strategy system-wide. So it is said to enable the adoption of leading-edge technology and foster innovation and productivity globally. Using Azure OpenAI service, Coca-Cola is currently exploring the use of generative AI-powered digital assistants. Now, did you know they have found nanotechnology in Coca-Cola and in Pepsi products? Have a look at this. The biodistribution study in major organs indicated that the NPs were easily accumulated in the digestive tract, and they were able to cross the blood-brain barrier and dispersed into the brain. Questions, and of course suspicions, have been raised in recent years.
You can penetrate this little instrument, and you can say about Major Garrett anything you want, and I can paint you as a monster. And if I say it often enough people will believe it.
We have some big news right now that could apply to you. The Trump administration is now going to start going after people it deems to be part of, quote, anti-tech extremism. The full term is anti-tech violent extremism and hasn't been public until now. A new report from Wired has now revealed that the federal government is actively targeting those who are going after data centers, those who are targeting AI. Essentially, activists that are protesting these data centers that are going after big AI companies are now going to face possible investigation and ultimately, eventually, prosecution by this administration. And it's never been disclosed until now. Anti-technology violent extremism, whatever the heck that term means, you may fall into it if you are protesting at a data center that is polluting water, for example, or going after AI companies that are trying to harm everyday Americans. Let me know what you think and spread the word, because I think it's important that people know what's happening. As always, spread the word and follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. I'll have another update for you very soon.
Just like that woman that got arrested for sharing the video of what the data center has done to her water.
Wallace Thornhill.
One of the main culprits of all of this right now, or the figure.
They call themselves Netanyahu, but it's just a stolen name, a Hebrew mask plastered over a European exile's face. His real name was Milikowski, born of Ashkenazi lineage from Poland. Benjamin Netanyahu has neither the blood, nor the land, nor the language of those he claims to represent.
Remember that these people, they have some Japheth. They do have some Israelite blood in them. That would be from the, well, I mean, technically not Israelite because it's from Esau, but he shared the blood of Jacob. So you have that. You have the son from Judah and the Canaanite, descendants of Japheth. There's Turk, Khazarian. They're a whole mixed bag of people. And that's why they have so many genetic defects. Because we are not supposed to mix. We were created kind after kind, and we're to remain separate. And this is another reason why you see so much genetic disorders. Not only is it the poison that they're spraying in the skies, that they're putting in our water, that they're injecting into our children, that they're putting into our food, but the racial mixing causes genetic disorders. But they don't tell you that. They make you the defect. Oh, you have this because you're defective. Oh, you have this defective gene. Nothing we did, but we can help you. See, it was God that made you defective. Can you believe that? What kind of God would do that? What kind of God would give a child cancer? How can you even worship a God like that? That's the mind games they play with you. And when I was an atheist, I would fall right into that. I'd be like, oh, I can't believe that there's so much childhood cancer. How can anybody worship a God like that? Well, that God gave us free will. And with that free will, certain group decided to poison people and then point the finger at God. You are not defective. You've been attacked and you've been poisoned. You are under assault, and a majority of the population doesn't even notice.
His Judaism is not that of the shepherds of Hebron, nor the poets of Jaffa. It is the Judaism of a colonizer from elsewhere who put on the prophet's robe to hide the scent of ashes. Because what he represents today is not a people, it is a machine, a political, military, ideological machine, a machine of steel and contempt. Netanyahu didn't grow up on the banks of the Jordan. He grew up in the salons of New York's conservative elite and the ultra-nationalist sermons of his father, Ben Zion, the hardline Zionist historian. He never spoke Arabic. He never shared bread with a Palestinian. He never had to bury a child beneath the rubble of an Israeli airstrike. He is not from this land. He took it. And yet he decides. He demolishes. He signs the order.
Somebody to blow up a bus full of children or a building full of innocent civilians, you have to grind it into their minds. You have to wash their brains and tell them there's a higher cause out there. It's religious, ethnic, racial, whatever. And for that higher cause, you can disregard all the normal rules of morality.
What you try to do is you want to corral your victim, but in fact, your countries are the victim. So you dehumanize a group of people in human society, and you prepare them for the kill, for the butchery.
Talking about with Kabbalah. That's the point of it. So it's initiating people before the slaughter. And we have this normalcy bias that people don't think anything will ever change. Because we've had it so good in America. And they're sleepwalking. all the movies about those men? So we just get endless movies about the man with the little mustache. And we get those because that story fits the narrative. Plain and simple.
JD Vance gets up on stage this week and is like, our task force found $1.4 billion in fraud. We're killing it. I don't know what's going on with him and Trump, because today Trump's DOJ went and moved to drop the case against an Indian billionaire for $265 million because he used Trump's personal lawyer and paid him $1 million. Because I don't know if you all know this, but we're in a pay-to-play pardon economy right now. I've got that coming. It's incredibly layered. But Trump, this term alone, has pardoned 17 people for fraud. Just fraud. And it's really messed up because this fraud that he pardoned got up to $10 billion. So you have 15 of the 17 were healthcare executives, and they were in for $3 billion in fraud. Then you have Zhao, who's the Binance guy. Kushner walks him in Trump's office. All of a sudden they do a deal, and Zhao gets off. He gets pardoned, and his was $4.5 billion. I mean, one of the guys, he was in for 50 years. Trump commuted his sentence. $250 million in fraud. And like a bunch of other things. He got kickbacks for like sending people to clinics that they had no business being at, addicts, dementia patients, because he got kickbacks for it. In Trump's first term, he commuted the sentence for a guy named Philip Esmores. He was in prison for $1 billion in Medicare fraud. And he pushed his people that worked at his nursing homes to give grandma and grandpa opioids and fentanyl so that they would get addicted and stay longer, among a bunch of other things. Trump commuted his sentence. So JD Vance is saying we're getting fraud, and Trump is pardoning everybody. It's just a zero-sum game if they keep acting like this. And I hope that JD Vance is going to go to other states, because I'm sure that Texas and Ohio have plenty of fraud. So yeah, it's like on one hand, great, but those $1.4 billion that they're selling you that they found, it's not like we get it back. It's not like we get it back. And they just stop the payments, and then they go investigate. And typically 40 to 60% of them like go away because they're just dropped, or they don't find anything, or they weasel their way out of it, and we're not going to see anything. So you're just spending our tax dollars to go find fraud. And if you're not going to do anything or hold anyone accountable, I don't really care at this point. I don't really care. I'm over it. It's just performative politics. It's just all performative politics. Because
100%.
honestly, who are you going to hold accountable? And if you're releasing the criminals back on the street, that behavior doesn't just change. So yeah, and before you come at me and being like you're such a liberal, I'm not. Actually, I'm a conservative. I am a Republican. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to allow the corruption that is happening.
Because she's not a hypocrite.
To continue to happen, or be okay with it, or sit silent.
If you excuse behavior that you wouldn't excuse if it was the other side doing it, you're a hypocrite. You're a fake. You're a phony.
Democrat or Republican anymore. It's either you're corrupt or you're America first. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, stay tuned.
You should not be loyal to a party or a person. You should be loyal to your morals and values and the Constitution, regardless of what a person is telling you to do. If you're loyal to a person or a party, that makes you a cult member. That's it. You're a cult member. The Trump tards are cult members. People doing it on the left, loyal to whoever, you're a cult member. Real Americans, real children of our Father, are loyal to Scripture, the Constitution, each other, and our morals and values.
And the heated, hyper-emotional responses I've been getting back are really, I think they're greater than the Zimmerman trial, than the Rittenhouse trial. People feel extremely strongly about this emotionally. Mostly white people are giving me this response. And I just want to say up front, I understand. I understand the fatigue. I understand how you all feel about this. I understand that, the 5% of the population that's young black men commit 60% of the violent crime. I understand that white people are treated far harsher in the criminal justice system than many black people are. I've seen the same news stories where a guy commits a violent crime and is let out 10, 12, 15 times, and then puts a knife in the neck of a little...
Or they barely get any... Their bond is so low compared to what whites receive, even for nonviolent crimes. And it's not just about sticking it to whites. It's because they know they can suck more money out of them.
Ukrainian girl on a train. I get it. I know how many of you were overlooked for jobs, for college, for medical school because a less qualified person of a different ethnic group got that slot instead. I understand these are huge problems. These are enormous public policy concerns that need to be addressed. We don't live in Jim Crow anymore. I call it John Crow. It's the white people that are disadvantaged and have been my entire adult life. We put $400 billion a year, the net taxpayers in America, which generally means white people and Asian people, effectively put $400 billion a year into the black community, and it only gets worse.
Over the course of their lifetime, black people average costing our country and taxpayers $750,000. Hispanics is around $500,000, and I believe we put in it's like $200,000 or $300,000 positive in the course of our life. Our country could be beautiful if we didn't have to shell out all this money to support lazies and people that cannot effectively live in our society. Immigration, if you come into this country, you should have to prove that you will not be a drain on our country and not qualify for anything. I'm sorry. We have enough of our own people taking advantage of the system. We don't need the third world to come in and do the exact same. Our immigrants that came over came to this country, kissed the ground, rolled up their sleeves, and got to work. The people coming over now spit on the ground and hold out their hand for assistance. It's disgusting.
It never gets better. I mean, we would all have flying cars. We'd be on Mars. I mean, the life we would be living if we weren't doing this. I understand. So I just wish people would stop yelling at me about it. I get it. But that's a different matter than doing legal analysis on a use of force event. When I do legal analysis, I turn my emotions off. I become Spock. It's completely emotionless.
And by the way, what he's talking about there is Chud the Builder, the guy who shot that black in self-defense and, had a bond set for, I think, like $1.2 million. And the Give, Send, Go, I believe, the court ruled that he wasn't able to use that for his legal fees. But yet that piece of garbage that stabbed Austin Metcalf, his family gets hundreds of thousands of dollars. His bail was something ridiculously low. And this is all over because that individual, whether you like it or not, I personally don't like it. But I also don't like the fact that people are defending the blacks because they can't control themselves over a word. This is America, and we are adults. It doesn't give you a right to assault somebody because they said a word. Grow up. And another reason why they shouldn't be in our country, because they're just children. They don't have the maturity level to live in a white society. and you don't have some human right or entitled to live amongst us. Again, this is why our Father told us that we are to remain separate. And the curses in Deuteronomy, they are in full effect right now. The strangers will rise high above us. And that's what's going on right now. And it'd be a different story if we would have went through with Abraham Lincoln's plan. This was one of the reasons why he was killed. He didn't want the blacks to stay in this country. For whatever reason, when I get to a certain point in one of these shows, it always freezes up on me. Oh boy. Sorry, guys, it's freaking out right now. Stay with me. I'm sorry. All right.
Talk about how the white man just wants to keep the black man down, keep him under his control, under his oppression. That is not true. The opposite actually happened once, where you had a bunch of wealthy and influential Americans working to give black people their own country back over in Africa. The American Colonization Society. It was founded in 1816 with the purpose of giving free black people their own land and government where they could rule themselves freely. Even Abraham Lincoln supported it. Millions of dollars went into this to get them guns, supplies, construction materials, and passage to what would become Liberia. Its capital, Monrovia, was named after James Monroe, who had the federal government provide millions of dollars to start off the project. But when the Liberians arrived to land that had been set out and purchased, it wasn't long before they were attacked by some of the hostile tribes that wanted to stop them from colonizing, even though all parties on both sides were African. The Liberians were able to beat them, however, because of the weaponry provided to them by the United States. So by the mid-19th century, Liberia would declare its independence. It would adopt a constitution nearly identical to the United States, with the two exceptions being slavery is illegal, and the only people allowed to be citizens of the Republic, vote, and hold office would be Negroes, which is to say the descendants of black Americans. It was the only country on the continent, alongside Ethiopia, that was not colonized by the Europeans, as it was being protected by America. Now, around the 1900s, Liberia would start to become almost a magical place in the mind of black nationalists in America, because you've got a land of free black people. They're never under the heel of the white man, they have civilization. What's not to like? Marcus Garvey, who was the head of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, or UNIA, he would work to send a delegation to Liberia to see if they could have more black people from America move there to start basically the real-life Wakanda. When the delegates arrived, however, they were a little bit shocked at what they found, because the Liberians were enjoying high culture, they're wearing suits, sipping tea, while at the same time, they ran rubber plantations of Africans who were almost in various forms of, like, forced labor, and the delegates themselves were almost immediately arrested and deported as they protested against this, like, wait a second, hold on, are we supposed to be brothers? Aren't we supposed to not be doing this? America conducted a report on Liberia through the State Department, which was known as the Christie Report, and it found that Liberians had developed a system of debts and contract labor that was slavery in all but name. A large proportion of the contract laborers recruited under conditions of criminal compulsion scarcely distinguishable from slave raiding and slave trading. Interesting. So Liberia would continue with this whole system where the Americo-Liberians would rule the other Africans until around the 1980s, where a coup would be launched and plunge the country into a civil war, rendering it as one of the poorest and most dangerous countries on the planet. Damn it. I hate when that happens. Truth matters. I love black.
Well, there you go. And people tend to forget it was blacks who originally started the slave trade. They were capturing their own and selling them off. but they don't like to bring up that fact. All right, so let's listen to what this creature has to say. He does make some good points.
There's going to be civil war on the streets, and this is not going to end well. Britain is not in the process of being invaded. It has been invaded, and not a shot was fired. A lot of people were stabbed. None of them, a lot of us. There's going to be civil war in the streets, and it's going to be the sleeper cell Islamic State, the Islamic Brotherhood, versus what is left of Brits, what is fucking left of them. And white men will be having to throw their white women aside.
We need to bring those jackets back
To get to these fuckers. Because our women are gonna try and stop this from happening. You fucking know they're gonna. Not all of them, but there are going to be our own white English women
out there
trying
already.
to get in the way of us fighting back. They're so brainwashed into believing that white man bad, bring in more browns. And this is what happens when you allow women to make too many fucking decisions on this kind of level about these types of things. It's not their fault. It's genetically programmed. Whatever satisfies that feminine urge to sacrifice yourself on the altar of
Pay attention to what he's
something
saying
that is
here,
unable to
'cause
look
this is
after
important.
itself, right? Which are these fucking
Psychology
savages.
behind
They
why they're
can't
doing
do
what they're
that.
doing.
We've seen their countries. They're falling to shit. They're made of literal shit. And these women go, oh, without us, they can't survive. They're like our children. They're like our children. I have to protect them.
And they've given up their gift of being mothers. So they no longer have, that direction to point those emotions and that, I don't want to use evolutionary, but that instinct. So they apply it to all these social programs, fighting for acceptance and fighting for equal rights. It's all emotion driven. That's why in communist Russia, that's why women were, that's where feminism was really born. Because they know women are emotional creatures and they are perfect party slaves. All right, I thought this video was pretty funny. We'll give this a watch.
Let me explain something to white people.
Well, this should be good. I'll be white back. All right, go.
Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern.
A curly pattern. I see that you took the time to straighten it today, though.
But when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards,
only white people set the beauty standard.
We are trapped by the straightness.
Trapped by straightness. We're talking about hair, right? Not sexuality.
That's why so many of us can't swim.
Can't swim because trapped by straightness.
And we run away from the water.
Do you shower?
I won't go to the gym.
White people have stopped you from living a healthy lifestyle.
Because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all.
Did a white person tell you that you had it?
Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the works.
So why are you not wearing braids?
Yeah, I don't know what she meant by that. Black people did not invent braids. Celts and Vikings were wearing those long ago.
Why do we need an act?
You don't.
Don't tell me how to wear my hair.
You don't.
Don't wonder about it. Don't touch it.
Don't even look at it.
Everything's Whitey's fault. Because nobody can look at themselves and ask, what have I done to cause these problems? Nope. What people group do you think they got that from? Give you a hint. 4 letters. All right. We're on our final 2 videos here. This is a red ice video. And the next one, it's a good one to end on. Or, reminder of what we fight for and the rich culture that we do have as whites. Oh, man. Hang on. Well, we're going to skip that one because I don't remember where I put it. Let me see if it's this one. Nope. All right. Yeah, we'll just end with the... one with this one. We have so much culture. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. All right. This video has gotten pretty long, so I think I'm gonna... Oh, and my daughter's up. So I think I'm gonna save the rest for next week. But next week we're going to talk about Genesis 3:15. We're gonna talk about where evil originated, the true origins of the people that we are dealing with right now, and the Hebrew language deception and the Y name, sacred name deception that's going on right now, and the destruction and removal of the name Jesus. So, which I believe is our Father's name. And I will show you the scriptures next week that prove that. So I hope you enjoy your weekend. Have a great day. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the gifts that our Father gave us. Continue to educate yourself. Never stop growing. and have a great day. All right. Much love, everyone. Praise Jesus. Have a great day.